LeBron James has made it known that he wants to play with his oldest son, Bronny, in the NBA. But before Bronny can get there, he needs to make a big decision. Current rules state that a player has to be 1 year removed from high school to enter the draft. As Bronny enters his senior year, will he spend next year in college or in the G League? We just found out his next step, but if his dad was anyone but LeBron James, would Bronny even have this opportunity? The last and only scholarship offers that Bronny has gotten are from North Carolina Central and North Carolina A&T. Not exactly irresistible offers. So the word was he's just gonna go to the G League. In fact, last month, 24/7 Sports, who only does college recruiting, said, I don't know that anybody's really recruiting Bronny James. I think the perception is Bronny James is not gonna play college basketball. Yeah, and the G League Ignite team has produced guys like Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen Green. The problem with Bronny is his team has never depended on him. He is a 6'2" shooting guard whose best skill is probably defense. Before his senior year, he's been a role player on really talented teams. He played with future NBA players Zaire Williams, BJ Boston. Then, during the pandemic, he tore his meniscus. That set his development back, and a lot of people are asking, why is LeBron James Jr. a role player? Is he the most overhyped player ever? But the big positive in all of this has been his attitude. You never hear Bronny complain about being a role player. He seems like a well-balanced kid despite being in the spotlight his entire life. I always say that maturity is as much of a skill in being a pro as a jump shot, and Bronny James has that. But then he flipped the script. For the first time in his career, Bronny had a team built around him this summer. Before his senior year, Bronny's Strive for Greatness team played at the Peach Jam in Atlanta. It's one of the big tournaments for high school stars. Bronny played great in front of sold-out crowds and hundreds of scouts. He averaged about 16 points, 6 boards, and over a steal a game. He took care of the ball as a point guard and played D with 2 games over 25 points. Well then, maybe he is a legit NBA prospect. Maybe that meniscus tear just set him back and Bronny is just now developing his game. Right after the Peach Jam, a huge ESPN report dropped. There is a strong feeling Bronny will take the college route as opposed to the G League Ignite or other developmental leagues. He is being pursued by the likes of UCLA, USC, Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon, among others. Did you notice something about all those teams? They are all affiliated with Nike. LeBron has been partners with Nike since before Bronny was born. Ohio State, a Nike school, is in the state he and his dad were born. Michigan, Jordan Brand, coached by Juwan Howard, who played with LeBron for 3 years and was an assistant coach for the Miami Heat. Oregon is basically Nike University, and USC and UCLA would allow Bronny to stay home and play about a mile away from where his dad plays with the Lakers. But why would Bronny not even consider the G League Ignite? We know that Ignite plays against better competition and you can get paid up to $500,000 per season. But college offers something that Ignite cannot. In college, Bronny will be playing in front of packed arenas with thousands of screaming fans. He'll be a superstar on TV and college life. Can you imagine being Bronny James on a college campus? Friends, girlfriends. In the G League, you're like on some bus playing against like 30-year-old dudes who can't make the NBA. That sounds depressing. Think about the experience that Zion Williamson had at Duke for just 1 semester. I don't care if Zion was in the G League, ain't nobody going to those games or even watching those games. But now, college can compete financially. The big advantage that Ignite had over college was you can get paid. Then 1 year after Ignite was founded, the NCAA allowed players to get endorsement deals. Now last year, 21 of the top 23 draft picks came from college. And I know, Bronny doesn't need the money, right? I mean, his dad is a billionaire, but you don't want to live off your parents' money? I don't care who you are. It feels so much better to have your own life. According to On3, Bronny's NIL value is $6.4 million. That means he can become the richest prospect in any college sport. Number 2 is Arch Manning, who's committed to Texas football. Number 3 is Mikey Williams, who is in Bronny's draft class, but Bronny is worth almost double those guys. And let's be honest, Bronny must capitalize on this moment in his life because he's probably not going to have a long NBA career. If his dad wasn't LeBron James, I think Bronny would still be getting D1 offers, but at much smaller schools, and he'd be a 2 to 3 year college player. But now, he will be one and done because drafting Bronny means you will also get LeBron James. Bronny needs to make his money now, and he knows it. Reports say the kid makes between $46,000 and $120,000 per sponsored IG post. And just so you know, AM Hoops is like not even in that galaxy. Also, Bronny just signed an endorsement deal with PSD Underwear for his own line. He also filed 3 trademarks to build his brand. He will own the rights to Bronny, a BJ Jr. logo, and Bronald, which actually I don't really get that last one. But with all that, he can create NFTs, make a clothing line, make content on social media. As a result, the 17-year-old already has a net worth of $10 million. And that makes me happy. It should have always been this way. Kids have been exploited by the NCAA for way too long. Bronny is like the first one of this new generation of young athletes. These players have been providing the skill, and college sports have made billions. If this happened 5 years ago, Bronny would be ineligible for college sports. It's ridiculous. Like, imagine if you had some author who was in high school and they wrote a book that went viral and sold millions. Would Ohio State say, oh no, you can't come major in English at our school? No, they would go and they would be like a celebrity. But for some reason, for athletes, it didn't work that way. Now, a kid like Bronny can make his money while his star is bright. Bronny is going to be a role player in the NBA, which is good because he's already shown he's got the mentality to embrace that role in high school. But the only way he is more than that is if he takes off this next year. He's about to be a senior, and we just saw flashes at the Peach Jam already. Now imagine if Bronny kept growing from around 6'2" to like 6'6". And if he adds a dominant college season to that, the Bronny story gets a lot more interesting. Bronny's maturity speaks a lot to LeBron James and the way that he has raised him despite being in the spotlight his entire life. When that totally backfires is a guy like Shabazz Muhammad, which at one point he was supposed to be the #1 draft pick when he was in high school. Then he slipped all the way down to almost out of the lottery because he was so immature. He gets into the league and he squanders his NBA career. Now he has actually learned that humility through a lot of crap he had to take after not being able to get back in the league. But now he is trying to make a comeback, and I made a whole video about it right here.